you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there are these things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, for 16 years and 2,500 episodes, we bring you the most amazing minds, the most amazing people, the most amazing stories, all the things that can improve the quality of your life. We never have anybody on the show who will ruin your life and give you bad advice. Well, maybe I would, but, that's why we have guests on the show, so we can have wonderful people on the show instead of just this idiot with the mic. So make sure you tell all your friends and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet.
Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind.
Today, an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking to him about his book and his work and some of the cool products he has. He is the author of the book that came out May 1st, 2025, entitled The Sun, the Energy, the Light, the Frequency by Sylvain Horwood. He's going to be joining us on the show, and we'll get into it with him. He is a Swiss-based entrepreneur and creative founder behind the innovative brands Peru and Pure Turnia, known for pioneering 100% natural skincare and premium vegan skincare. With a passion for wellness and digital innovation, he merges Swiss quality and craftsmanship with modern technology, bringing nature, art, and Web3 culture in partnership with projects like Pudgy Penguins and the Peru, I don't even know if I can say this right, Transgascogne?
Gascogne, yep.
Yeah, I knew the cognac part, so years of drinking. He's also author of numerous books you can find on Amazon. Welcome to the show, Sylvain. How are you?
Good, thank you, Chris. Nice to speak to you tonight.
Pleasure to speak to you as well, sir. Give us your .coms. Tell us where people can find you on the interwebs, please.
Yeah, so puru.com, Puru.com is my kind of personal site, if you like, where I call myself kind of a Captain Puru character, right, which is me, and also my cute little Pudgy Penguin, which you mentioned, right, a kind of digital representation of myself out there, which is more of a landing page and kind of my overall branding, right, but my main company and brand is Puru, and that's the 100% natural sun care, and that's on puru.ch.
Okay. Well, let's dig in the book, and then we'll get to Peru here in a second. Give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside the book? The sun, the energy, the light, the frequency.
So very high level. Essentially, it's almost 100-page book about why the sun is good for you.
Really?
And, yeah. You don't buy it?
No, I do. It's except when I get sunburned.
Yeah, absolutely right. So that's a part of the key message, right? Don't get sunburn, as it hurts for a reason, right?
Yeah,
and generally, pain is an indicator that maybe you shouldn't have done whatever it is that's causing the pain, right? Including sunburn, which is basically your skin's reaction to too much sun, right? Your skin's kind of reacting and trying to protect itself and giving you that pain, right? To also tell you as well to not do it again, essentially. But otherwise, yeah, a fairly bold, I think, book in itself, right? Because I'm the owner of Switzerland's #1 natural sun care company brand. And, that's not the typical message that most sunscreen brands put out, right? Saying explicitly that the sun has benefits. And it's not that they deny that. I think it's just the sort of loudest voice that's heard when they use narratives is that, that kind of fear narrative that any sun is, some or can be harmful, basically, right? Whereas I kind of go through all of the myths and a lot of other stuff, how it reacts with your body, even some symbology. It's kind of historical context with religion, holidays, and general practical tips. And of course, what sunscreen to choose, right?
And so you write in the book about the details of that, how that works. What got you? I mean, now this ties into some of the products, the Puru products that you have, right? With the sun care, sunscreen that you take and develop as well, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I felt like it was a part of my reason to be, right? In French, you say raison d'être, or the popular one in Japanese now is called ikigai, right?
Ikigai?
Your purpose and meaning in life, essentially, right?
I get called ikigai a lot, but it's mostly from Tinder dates.
Yeah, that sounds like another story we could get into, right? For sure. A good one, right? But what I did, looking to basically scale the business, right? Kind of seeing how to do that. And most people, I think these days, buy from the person, not necessarily the brand, right? Especially for upcoming brands. And that means that, we started a business over 7 years ago, this brand. And I think it was time for me to kind of step up and become more of a prominent face of the brand, right? And my background is from, natural health. So I grew up on a macrobiotic organic diet back in the 80s in the UK.
Wow.
So I was kind of early to this.
Well, you guys were eating well early on, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even trendy back then, right? It was very niche, very, very edgy. Most of the sort of GMO stuff was really only coming to surface back then, right? So, I think my parents essentially, saw that early on, right? And I published a book called The Frequency Diet as well, which was more, carrying on from that legacy in my father's book and kind of putting a modern twist on that. And then from there, I kind of thought, well, I really enjoyed doing the book. I thought I could see that I had some, natural talent for writing and researching and kind of a way of expressing certain complex topics. And then it felt natural as the owner of this sunscreen brand in Switzerland to do, a kind of biggest task yet, which was write about the sun itself, right? So it was more a kind of natural spark that came along, and with the help of some of my business partners as well and partnerships who helped me come up with the idea. And it just really came naturally from there, right? Writing the books and seeing it as my meaning, as why am I doing this, right? Why do I sort of sweat every day, literally, right, in the sun, maybe working on this business? What am I doing it for? And trying to sort of bring more meaning and purpose to it.
And so you created Switzerland's top 100% natural sun care brand. I used to be friends with Ron Rice from Hawaiian Tropic, and he created one of the first non-chemical brands back in the day for sunscreen. But I don't think it was, purely vegan and purely the best stuff. So, I mean, but there's a need for this because, we're putting this on the largest we're putting these creams on the largest organ of our body. Do I have that right? I flunked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, the largest organ in the body. Yeah, the most visual as well, of course.
And so, if you're spreading a bunch of highly toxic chemicals on there, and then you're cooking yourself in the sun, you're going to look like that baked turkey that comes out of the fryer.
This is it. Yeah, this is it, right? It's the one that's kind of most important when it comes to cosmetics. I mean, you could obviously look at hair wash and hand wash and other kind of things, but this is the one that you would put in most volume and then bake in the sun, where you have this kind of, reaction with that sun energy, right, and light. And it's one of the most important ones, but not only for your skin, right, but also for nature as well. So when you swim in the lakes, rivers, seas, even the swimming pool, at the hotel with other friends, right? Your sunscreen goes into the water and affects the fish.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
even the coral reefs and other people in the pool, right?
Yeah.
And so far as Hawaii, Thailand, Palau, and other Caribbean islands, as well as I think one particular ingredient in Florida, they've actually banned certain chemical sunscreen ingredients, right? Because not because it damages your skin, though, Chris. Because it harms the coral reef and it might affect their tourism dollars, probably.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta be wary of this. We can't just keep dumping shit in the ocean. You talk in the book about several things about sun gazing, circadian rhythms, vitamin D, the electromagnetic spectrum. I started doing a thing in summers here when it's warm. I can't do it in winter, but I mean, I suppose you could. Well, you couldn't have your skin exposed, but here in Utah, the snow is pretty bad. In Vegas, I can do it, but I've done the thing where when I would wake up in the morning, I would go out with a cup of coffee, sit in the sun. I'd usually take my shirt off and so that I could have like maximum exposure and start my circadian rhythms. We've had a lot of content on the show about circadian rhythms.
Nice,
And of course, getting that natural vitamin D from the sun. What's the electromagnetic spectrum? I'm not too familiar with that. How does that work?
So basically, it's the energetic waves, right, coming from the sun. And the most visual thing that we all know, of course, is the rainbow, right? And that's the sun's light or energy, right, that gets split up by water droplets, essentially, right, by the water, the prism. And then you see all of the colors of the visible light spectrum, right, of the sun's electromagnetic energy that it spurts out, right? And that's like hundreds of trillions and trillions of waves a second, essentially, right? And we can only see in our eyes the visible spectrum, which is those colors you see in the color form, right? And that goes from the sort of large, longer wavelengths, which is the reds and the infrareds, to the sort of shorter wavelengths, which is the UV, right? On the other end of the spectrum, with kind of green as neutral in the middle, right? And then even further on the invisible side, you've got, X-rays on one end and then radio waves on the other end, right? So everything that's sort of flying through the air, visibly and invisibly, is a part of that electromagnetic spectrum, with the visible light in the middle, which is the sort of rainbow colors, if you like.
Oh, wow. So I imagine, with the sun. Now, do you believe in some of this thing with there's people that believe in this, what is it called, grounding or whatever, and they believe that they need to ground themselves when they sleep to their bed or something? I don't know about, is that part of the electromagnetic thing? I just figured.
It is, right? As a part of the kind of, duality of life, right? Positive and negative energy. And they're both on different ends of the electromagnetic spectrum, right? In the middle, or the sort of trinity of that, is neutral, right? Is the middle. And essentially, when you touch the ground, right, which is the most the most talked about, when you put your feet in the ground or in the sand, right, then you're in a way getting some of that neutral energy, right? So if your body is kind of too positively charged or negatively charged, then that allows you to kind of ground, right, and center. And it works the same with a plug, right? You have that sort of third plug, right, that does called the ground, right? And it's also green and brown, right, which signifies the earth, right, and that part of the spectrum. But you don't have to, take your feet off and sit in the sand all day. It's lovely when we do, of course, right, in the beach or whatever.
It's warm.
But you can also, get that kind of grounding on neutral energetic waves just from being in the forest, right? Being amongst nature, being in the mountain, and you can go further and get kind of grounding shoes and that kind of thing, right? But it's really just a sort of, neutralize any kind of extreme energy side that you may have in your body. And you need to do it for a longer period of time, right? I think some is better than none, obviously, but to get the full benefits and sort of discharge, right? I think you need to be getting a few hours in at the beach or in the grass or, at the park, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's what was the thing I was going to say about that? Yeah, it's kind of interesting how much we kind of need that. We spend so much time indoors, we spend so much time fully clothed, and going out and soaking up that natural vitamin D without having to administer it to yourself and is just so much more natural. And so you talk about this in the book. And did you grow up with this kind of influence? What was your you I think you alluded to a little bit how you're raised. Were your parents kind of into this stuff, or did they help you kind of find this holistic sort of lane of life?
Yeah, absolutely, right. That was kind of ingrained in me at an early age and questioning stuff. But I mean, a lot of the stuff in the book, sure was.
I feel like my parents ripped me off. They were feeding me McDonald's and In-N-Out Burger. What the hell?
Yeah, we never had McDonald's, right? I had my first McDonald's when I was went to a kid's birthday party. Right? And,
how soon did you throw it up after that? No, I'm just kidding. That's just joking, folks.
Yeah, look,
don't sue us, McDonald's.
But you can kind of relate it to, again, this energetic waves, right? That kind of food basically has a lower vibrational frequency, so it basically vibrates less, right? Whereas a fresh apple, for example, would vibrate higher and vibrates at its peak when it's still connected to the tree, basically, right? When it's still connected to that life energy of the actual living tree itself. And the moment it picks that vibrational frequency that it's giving off, right, essentially, starts to diminish over time, and also more so if you don't preserve it in a fridge or certain methods, right? So yeah, it's you can apply this same kind of energetic waves and electromagnetic spectrum to everything, right? Looking at in certain one kind of framework, looking at everything as energy, right?
Yeah.
And seeing which kind of energy it is and how fast, essentially, and how long the wavelengths of its vibration is,
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the things that you developed in your science with the Pure. Am I pronouncing it right? Puro brand?
You got Puru, yeah,
Puro.
Yep.
Tell us about some of these things. I can see different sunscreens. I can see stuff for babies and kids, which is probably real important. You don't want to burn those babies' baby skin. They're just starting out, eh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell us about these.
So when I first moved to Switzerland around 10 years ago now, partly, I guess, a bit of a culture shock, language shock, that kind of thing. But yeah, I found it hard to find the same kind of natural products that I was used to in England, right? And I was finding myself buying what looked like natural products, right? It was this kind of greenwashing, I guess you call it now, right?
Greenwashing, yeah.
And I took it home and then did the more research and saw that it wasn't very natural at all, basically, right? So, and I was going to the natural shops, right? And here they call them Reform House. It's like a sort of, health shop, if you like. And, even then, so I was finding it and going out of my way to find these special shops and still not finding stuff that I was, happy with, right? So, I started mixing my own, basically, right? Using coconut oil, cacao butter, various other different kind of oils and base ingredients to mix my own stuff. And made some wonderful concoctions. I think that no one would ever buy, but I enjoyed it and liked using it. That really led to an opportunity, essentially, right, to find something and brand something as 100% natural. That was something that would save me time in the store, give me confidence that it was actually natural, and that really, was born out of that. And what we have now is 100% natural sunscreen that only has 6 or 7 ingredients. In total, those ingredients, you can actually read them, and we go out of our way to make sure we list all of them, put the normal English name as well as the scientific name. You have to print on the label so people can actually read it. And to go on further, we use what we feel certainly is the safest SPF active ingredient, right? To put SPF on the bottle and call it a sunscreen. You have to have certain ingredients that are approved. And we go for the mineral-based sunscreen. So mineral, like a rock, if you like, kind of mineral-based. And what that does is that puts a physical barrier on top of your skin, essentially, right? And that reflects and scatters the UV waves to stop you getting sunburn, as opposed to chemical sunscreen, which is the ones that I was saying earlier, right? Certain ones are banned, and they more use nanoparticles, and they can penetrate the skin barrier, and that causes a chemical reaction with the sun's waves. And then the offset of that is heat and stops you burning, but also then there's some other toxic chemical ingredients like aldehydes, right? Like formaldehyde, for example, that can get produced as well, and that's a known carcinogen, right? And certainly something you don't really want on your skin, right?
Yeah, that's what formaldehyde, isn't that what they use for storing bodies or something like that?
Exactly, yeah. They put it on your skin so the body stays less decomposed by the time the funeral arrives.
Oh, well, that makes sense then. I'll have more of that, I guess.
Maybe, yeah. But I'm not sure it's got a high vibrational frequency.
Yeah, it's not probably healthy.
And some studies and more people believe, right, that shows that can cause skin damage, basically. Right?
Yeah, I would imagine
more skin damage than other stuff.
I mean,
and then on top of that, all the other ingredients inside of those bottles, essentially, right, can also have and cause irritation and ingredients. And that comes to play. Obviously, and one of our main customer segments is the new families and kids, right, looking to protect their kids.
Yeah.
So, we have that baby and kids formula that's a bit more moisturizing and gentle. Obviously, that's fine for adults as well, but it's a bit more greasy, a bit more gentle. So we have the other formula, which adults prefer more. One of the most unique things about that sunscreen as well is normally most mineral-based sunscreens have that whitening effect, right? So I don't know if you know the famous Mark Zuckerberg photo, right?
Oh, yeah, where he's covered in
on the
white,
surfboard or whatever. And our one is actually non-whitening. So we've managed to innovate in such a way that means that our non-nano zinc oxide is actually non-whitening.
Well, that's pretty good. Now, let me ask you this. There are certain chemicals that we use in the United States that are banned in other countries. because the other countries are smart and we're dumb. We apply to capitalist greed, and I'll just say it.
Yeah.
So is there, if I'm in America and I'm listening to the show, is there maybe an edge or a benefit to where maybe if I order some of these products from Switzerland from you, I can maybe avoid some of the ingredients maybe that are banned in other countries and get good stuff?
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of that applies to food, basically, right? There's a lot of processed foods, right? That and certain ingredients that are banned, right? One of them, including, is the other type of mineral sunscreen ingredient, right? So there's only two types that are permissible for mineral. The one we use, which is the non-nano zinc oxide I explained, and then you have titanium dioxide, which makes food look white. That whitening effect for food. That's actually banned now.
Really?
In processed food in the US, and certainly most of the US, I think, or certain states, but in Europe, in the EU, and Switzerland. And that one is the other most popular mineral sunscreen ingredient. So a lot of the bigger brands, when they say, oh, it's mineral base, they still use titanium dioxide as their active ingredient, and that's banned to have in processed food, right? So yeah, certainly that's one example. But yeah, it depends, right? For our one, we don't like to sort of talk too much about the competitors, and we just focus on our low level of number of ingredients. Obviously, we also make sure that the kind of natural source and quality of the ingredients, the way it's produced, is also done with great care to make sure that final product gets to you in a certain way. Because it's not necessarily about certifications and things like that, right? You can get a certified organic apple, but maybe on the way to the superstore or the way home, something got on it, right? And then is it still organic? I don't know, right? So what's important is what gets to you, right? What's actually in front of you.
Yeah.
And we take great pride and care and in our brand, right? So you can trust that the final product that you get is what it says it is, and of high quality, right? And that's where the Swiss branding comes in. Essentially, Switzerland is a market where the consumers are very savvy. They demand quality products. So it's kind of a social proof of that as well, right?
100% natural, pure, honest body care products, biodegradable, recyclable containers, sustainable packaging, has no nasty chemicals or any harmful synthetic ingredients, supports clean water and shore initiatives as well, only natural ingredients. What am I going to die from if that thing's so natural, I might have a heart attack and kill over after eating all my McDonald's and Taco Bell all the time.
Yeah, I think, look, one of the things that's important to note, I think, and I see this on social media as well, right, is the priorities, right? There's always this new video, this new thing you have to avoid, and I think it's important to have the prioritization, right, of all of this stuff, when it comes to, wearing, changing a certain type of socks or pants or whatever it may be, the latest thing trending on TikTok, Instagram, right? And I think most importantly is get yourself fresh, high vibrational frequency foods and avoid toxins, basically, right? Because then you can give your body that sort of positive feedback loop of not having to constantly heal itself and having to digest, more toxic foods and more toxins, right? Just puts more pressure on your kidneys and liver to detoxify. And then, furthermore, be careful what touches your skin, basically, right? So what you put directly on your skin, your time in the sun, what interacts with the sun and the skin, but also, looking at, certainly if you have skin conditions, people are more looking at this type of thing, is, what your bedding is, what kind of washing powder you use, this, the stuff that you washes your plates, what kind of exposure to plastics the foods have, right, which is one of the ones, and also looking at any kind of convenience you have for toxins, right? And this is where my other book, The Frequency Diet, right, I go into a list of basically where all the potential toxins could lie, and I'm still finding some, right, that in my life, and really it's looking at ones that you have frequently, right, so most frequently in your daily habit. So if you're getting that, coffee maybe in a plastic cup that's lined with a paper cup, but that's lined with plastic, right? And maybe you're getting that every day or 5 a day, and it's reacting with that hot water. That could be a consistent source of one particular toxin, basically, right? That the body basically has to work overtime to handle, and then eventually will give up, and then work a certain way and have to deposit that that sort of toxin may be in the certain forms in your body. And then everything kind of comes after that, right? So it's just focusing on the priorities, that high vibrational frequency foods, fresh, seasonal, local to you, if possible, and avoiding toxins, right? And looking at your daily habits, right? What are consistent, persistent, high levels of toxins that could be touching your skin or coming into your body. But also, I think, spiritually as well, right? Treat others the way you would like to be treated, and don't treat others how you don't want to be treated. And respect others, and hopefully that comes back to you, right, in a kind of good karma type energetic sense as well.
Yeah, we like that. Doing others as you would doing yourselves, or whatever. I mean, that's
exactly,
what's the old line there?
The golden rule.
The golden rule.
Yeah.
So I notice you have lip balm. You have soothing after sun oil. What is after sun oil? Is that probably what it says? But I figured I'd ask for.
Yeah. So it's for.
I need before sun oil.
Certainly,
too.
If you get burnt, right, it can offer soothing to your skin. So it's a highly hydrating mixture of oils, right, and high quality organic cold pressed oils that are highly nutrient, high vibrational frequency. And it's not just if you're sunburnt. Obviously, that's the principal reason why people buy it. But even if you're just spending day in the sun, you're dehydrated. Of course, get yourself some hydration in the form of fruit and water and clean water. But you can complement that, of course, by putting these hydration oils essentially on your skin to help the recovery process, right? Because even if you're not burnt, let's say, right, you're just getting a tan, right, it can also help that tanning process, basically, right, if that's something you're looking for, and just help the skin kind of rejuvenate, right, and recover from that sun exposure, right, that may cause it to be a bit dry.
I see you have some tanning oil on here. There's some bundle for family sun care. I'm having a seizure, evidently. So let's see. Sunscreen, SPF 50. I know there's some chatter about SPF. Talk to us about why SPF is important. I remember I used to buy the cheap SPF 10, and then someone, I think I had a girlfriend yell at me or something. She's like, higher rating. I'm like, it's whatever. Tell us about the SPF and why that's important.
Yeah, essentially it's a sun protection factor, and the higher the number, the more time you can spend in the sun without getting burned, essentially. Right? There's lots of different variables in that, of course, right? And other types of substances you can put on your skin do offer some filtration from the sun's waves, right? The tanning oil, for example, right? That will filter out some of the waves. We can't actually say that or put sun protection factor on the bottle, right? That's because that's a kind of certified name, or labeled type thing, right? That you have to have. And essentially, it's more time, but the variables are important, right? So everyone's skin type is different. Firstly, when you're over the lake or at sea, say on a boat, right, or on the river, a lot, or even in snow, right, in the winter, a lot of the UV rays reflect off of that water or ice.
Oh yeah,
and then that can up to double the amount of sun that hits your skin, basically, right? So. That's another factor to keep in mind. But the SPF is basically, a fixed amount on the number of waves and how long more you can stay in the sun. But it's important to keep in mind of all the different variables, including also high altitude, right? So if you're in, you're skiing.
Oh, you're close to the sun because you're in high altitude.
Yeah. There's obviously a higher concentration, right? Because the closer you are to the sun, essentially, the more of those energetic waves or light waves, right? Will be there, right? Because it's less gets filtered out by the atmosphere, the clouds, that kind of thing. So you have to be mindful of all those factors, including your skin, right? Basically, when you spend time in the sun and you get that color, that's basically the pigment on on your skin that gets produced, right? So it goes a darker color, which means you can reflect more of the sun's waves, and that kind of builds up its own natural resistance to the sun, right? So kind of your own body's natural filtration barrier that reflects. And that also means as you get darker skin, you have to spend more time in the sun to get more vitamin D and other energetic chemicals that get produced by your skin reacting to the sun, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of things to consider, skin type, altitude, reflection, filtration, time of day, of course, as well. So proximity and, everyone's individual, right? So just knowing your own self and your skin and how long you can spend in the sun and keeping an eye on it.
There you go.
Seeing if you feel that burn or you touch your skin and you can see it goes white, right? Then that's probably time to grab some shade or slap another layer of sunscreen on, right? If you're doing sports or whatever it is.
Yeah, really important to have. I mean, it's kind of funny when we grew up. I grew up in Southern California. We were just beach bum kids, so it was like a rite of passage that every summer we would go down to when we get out of school. Our mom would take us down to the sand. She'd take us down to one of the LA beaches there, Santa Monica Beach, and we would go play in the sun, and we'd get our first burn. We'd burn the shit out of our skin. And I don't know why. I don't know if they had lotion back then or what the hell, but we just burn our skin off. My brother was, he's a ginger, so he's very pale. So he'd get the worst of it. I always felt bad for him. But, and then we would just have a tan all summer, after we turkey baked ourselves. Yep. And that was probably not healthy at all, what we were doing every summer, but we did it. Somehow we're still alive, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think your skin and your body can heal itself, right? We know that, right? There's limitations to that, of course.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I think consistent burning, a lot, I think, is not a good idea, right?
Not a good idea.
It causes pain. But yeah, I think we've all been burnt, right? We've all been there. And just try and avoid it, right? I think that's the most important thing. And, I think as kids, you just want to spend time running around outside all day, right? The last thing you want to worry about is, kind of protection and things like that. But yeah, I think increasingly the awareness is there to put it on and avoid getting sunburn. But yeah, like you said, right? I guess after a week or a few weeks or so, you built up that tan, right? Which is that pigment production.
Way to get that tan though, because you're right. For the first 2 or 3 days, you're walking around glowing like you turn off the lights and your body's just glowing in the dark. Now, with your guys' products, does it ship internationally? Could people in the U.S. get it? I see it's got a few tags for the European area there. Yeah,
so we ship worldwide. We're having a few issues with the US at the moment with these current
tariffs.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
I'm sorry.
The pure Turnia, but we're working it out. I'm currently awaiting approval with the FDA basically as well. So
that's right.
We to get there with the FDA and. We have this pudgy penguin on the baby and kids bottle, right? Which is kind of a mascot for that Puru Transgascon sailing race, but also become a mascot for the brand as well. But Pure Turnia, the 100% and all natural skincare line that we have, that is available with local shipping in the US, right? We managed to work it out.
Oh, nice.
For that and pureturnia.com, and we have some beautiful looking some products there with some of those pudgy penguins on as well, right? So we kind of licensed these cute penguins, and the pudgy penguins is a part of Igloo Group, which is based in Miami, and they're a modern IP licensing company trying to sort of be like a new kind of Disney, if you like, right? Where they own the intellectual property of their characters and that kind of thing, and even the community can own the IP to their own particular characters, which is a new twist on it. And this is where I have my IP on some of the Puru stuff, but also on the Pure Turnia, and we're licensing it out and to the community and trying to make the products look a bit more, high vibes, basically, right? Again, I guess, brighten up your bathroom with some cute fluffy penguins on the bottles, and the people that own that imagery for those is a part of the community. And overall part of the group that helps push us forward, basically, right?
Well, I love it. Well, it's a good-looking product as it is. I mean, it would dress up any bathroom. It's good-looking, and I'm sure everyone would love it. It's people love that appealing stuff. But, yeah, take care of your skin, folks. You only get one skin or something. Maybe you get more skin. It depends on whether you're one of those lizard people, politicians or not. or if you're from Mars, might be good on. You might want to get some Mars people to maybe lizard people to test it out on their lizard skin. That or know what it'd be a good video. I had one of my old friends used to own a leather company, and he did a thing where he made these leather bags that you could use for luggage, and he threw one to a alligator and let him tear the hell into it for a while, and he showed that it survived. And so he was like, hey man, it was a great video, went viral for him. Maybe you could wrangle yourself an alligator, jump on top of it, like they do in Florida, and then rub some lotion on him, see if you can get maybe some referral from the alligator community.
Yeah, I think
I'm a marketing guy. This is what I think about it. Yeah.
I mean, I could make that video in AI, right? That would,
that would be a great video. There's like an alligator, and he's, they got that digital chat GPT, whatever video with Sora you can do now. It's pretty cool. And, he's the alligator. He gives himself a lather down, and then suddenly he's just a bright, shiny, happy, smooth skinned crocodile or something. I don't know.
I'm writing it down, Chris. I'm making notes.
That would be a fun video to watch. Yeah.
I think this is the new thing that's sort of been trending this year, right? It's called brain rot. Have you heard of this? Italian brain rot?
I've been on Twitter.
Have you heard of it? Yeah. It's basically these kind of characters that could only ever exist and be produced by AI, because no designer would ever say yes to it, I guess, right, or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, you've got like a ballerina with a cappuccino as a head, basically, or a coffee cup as a head, right? Mm-hmm. And that kind of new, very individual type AI stuff captures attention, essentially, right? And I guess that's what I'm doing at the moment, right? I'm putting out authentic videos and educational type stuff, and it's. I'm one of those guys stuck on 200 views, So maybe me wrestling an alligator, trying to put sunscreen on it, right?
That would be interesting.
Mock test could be the one that gets me those views, gets attention to all of my high educational videos, basically.
Yeah. Fighting alligators, I think that always goes good. It might not turn out well, but that's your problem.
Wrestling a real alligator, yeah. Maybe if the video goes viral, I'd have to actually try.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to get eaten by an alligator. I mean, I was joking with a gentleman yesterday about startups and getting marketing and getting eyeballs in your startup. And I was talking about how I'm surprised more CEOs aren't showing up with their dating someone in their office to get their at a baseball game, or what was it? It was Coldplay, the Coldplay show to get exposure to their thing. I mean, it seems like that should be really popular now as it is. So
that was a whole thing, right? For a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Every week at one of these live shows, sporting events, that kind of thing. A new person or thing that went kind of viral, right?
Yeah. If I want to ever have my company, get popular or get a lot of eyeballs, I'll just be like, hey, we got to do this stunt, and I'm going to lose my job. But you pack. If you're smart, you pack in like a really good. You pack in like a good golden parachute, because you tell the board, hey, we're going to go do this stunt, and you're going to have to fire me, so I need a lot of money for this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you have to be creative, right? And at some point, you have to do something to sort of stand out, and grab that attention. And that's why the algos work.
I'm going to get caught cheating with two girls at the same time at a Coldplay concert. That's my plan. Yeah.
Double trouble.
I'm gonna get caught cheating with the one, and then the one, we're on camera getting busted cheating. The other one's gonna come over and like, I thought you were with me. And then it'll be even worse.
Live on cam, yeah, and then steal a kid's baseball or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. They're going to find out while I'm stealing. I'm going to steal a baseball, and the gal's going to go, "I'm your wife. I didn't know you were here." And I was like, "Give me that baseball." I don't know. It's 2025, people. You're watching this 10 years from now, and you're wondering, what are they talking about? Anyway, guys, thank you very much for coming on the show. Give us your final plug outs, your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so everything's on puru.com. You've also got the link tree there, and you can find links to the natural sun care, the Pureturnia, also my books on there as well. Amazon, you can find the books on Amazon, right? You can search my full name, Sylvain Horwood, on there. Also got some children's books as well with the Pudgy Penguin. So, kind of getting deep into that stuff. And yeah, or follow me on my socials, right? If you want to see the video of me wrestling an alligator that I come up with, or me, stealing the baseball from my fake lover or whatever it is, right, that I come up with, then yeah, follow me on Captain Puru on most of them, apart from TikTok is Puru Captain, but if you search Captain Puru, it will come up. So Captain as it is, and then Puru, which is the main brand, right? So Captain Puru is my kind of alias and digital persona, if you like, right? Also the cute sailor penguin. So yeah, check me out on there. Loads of videos. I'm trying to do one a day at the moment, right? And different educational snippets and wise and wisdom and guides and little things to make you smile, hopefully.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate talking to you, man.
Thank you. And thanks to our audience for tuning in. Order up his book wherever fine books are sold. The Sun, the Energy, the Light, the Frequency, out May 1st, 2025 by Sylvain Horwood being on the show with us today. And check out his products. You got to take care of yourself, man. The one thing I've learned is the medical system, especially in America, is a freaking mess. So you got to take good care of yourself, folks. Don't do what Chris Voss did and eat badly for 20 years. But, I just have hernias, so I'm doing okay. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in to my audience. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok, and all this crazy place on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should have